So if we give a number to each degree of a major scale, we just give it the numbers from 1 to 7. There are only 7 notes in the major scale before it just starts over again. All right, so this D major chord is going to be made up of 1, 3, and 5. D, F sharp, and A. Now, if we kind of take a look at what the difference is between that D major chord and the D minor chord, well, the F note is a half step lower. And so what we do is we say that that F note, since it's a half step lower than the third degree of the D major scale, that F is referred to as flat 3. All right, so we always say that the numbers are the degree of the major scale. All right, so D, E, F sharp would be 1, 2, 3. F is referred to as flat 3. And so what we have is what is known as a chord formula. A chord formula is just the directions or the recipe on how to create a chord from the notes of a major scale. So if I just take the first, third, and the fifth degree of a major scale, that is a major chord. If I take the first degree, the third degree lowered by a half step, which is referred to as flat 3, and 5, that is a minor chord. All right, so the recipe on how to create a minor chord is you take the first degree of the major scale, take the third degree and lower it by a half step, and then take the fifth degree. All right, so if you take a look at the D major chord here, again, even though there are 4 notes that you would strum in this basic D chord, there's 2 Ds in there. So the D is what's sometimes referred to as the root. The A is the fifth degree of the major scale. We have another D. And then the F sharp is the third degree of a D major scale. All right. In looking at the D minor, what happens is that we lower that F sharp down to an F. And so then that's referred to as flat 3. Now there are all kinds of different chords, but I have a few basic chord formulas here. And kind of this first group are the 3-note chords, chords that are made up of only 3 different notes. And we've taken a look at major, minor, and diminished, all of which were just 3 notes. So we saw that the major chord was made up of the first, third, and fifth degree of a major scale. So if we were looking at a C major chord, it's C, E, and G. If I have a C minor, it would maybe be made up of a C, E flat, and a G, so a 1, flat 3, and 5. An augmented chord is made up of the first, third, and then a sharp 5, so 1, 3, and sharp 5. Diminished would be made up of 1, flat 3, and flat 5. And then a sus2 chord is actually the first, second, and fifth degree of a major scale. And then a sus4 chord is made up of the first, fourth, and fifth degree. So all of those chords contain only 3 notes. Now, there are also some chords which are made up of 4, and there's even chords that are made up of more, but I'm just talking about some basic chords here. So a major 7 chord is made up of the first, third, fifth, and seventh degree of a major scale. The 7th, or sometimes what's referred to as a dominant 7th chord, that's things like C7, D7, so on, would be made up of the first, third, fifth, and flat 7. So a C7 would be C, E, G, and B flat. A minor 7 chord made up of 1, flat 3, 5, and flat 7. A minor 7 flat 5 chord is made up of 1, flat 3, flat 5, and flat 7. A diminished 7th chord is 1, flat 3, flat 5, double flatted 7, which is also the same as a 6th degree, but we often refer to it as a double flatted 7, which is another term for that, is a diminished 7th interval. All right. There are such things as double sharps and double flats. And a 6th chord would be 1, 3, 5, and 6, and a minor 6th chord would be 1, flat 3, 5, and 6. So they're really just going into a couple of examples of how these chord formulas apply to different basic chords.